So I have one very important question for all of you today. Who needs a miracle? Raise your hand if you need a miracle. The only one that didn't raise her hand is this lovely little girl over here. She's living in the miracle. Her grandparents were the first ones. Almost everybody here raised their hand. And the important thing to remember that dawned on me this week when I was thinking about this is if you need a miracle, maybe it's time to be the miracle. Every time that I think that I'm in need of something, that I really am at the impossible end of my dream, when nothing is happening right, when I think this is going to be impossible, this is only a miracle is going to fix this. Only a miracle is going to get me back in alignment with Spirit. That's the moment where I'm usually given an inspiration to give myself to someone else, to give myself away. When I am giving, I am receiving. The minute I attempt to give to someone, Spirit gives it to me first, so that I'm able then to give it away. Because you can't give what you don't have. That makes sense, right? And I don't even know that I have it. You know, us human beings, we're like a poor person who's living poor and doesn't know he has $100 million in the bank account. You have the whole universe, and you're acting like you don't have anything. I need a miracle. I need help. And oftentimes, we do need help. And just at the last thing that you could possibly handle, you think, that's it, I can't handle anymore. Something else happens. And you finally do what? Surrender. Finally, you give up. And you say, Spirit, help me. God, I need help. Whoever you pray to, it doesn't matter. Because what you're doing is you're looking outside of your limited perception. And you're looking to something unknown. And that's the definition of a miracle, isn't it? It's something happens that's unknown to you, that's impossible for you, that you don't think is going to happen. And yet somehow the perfect situation occurs, the perfect sequence of events happens, and all of a sudden, you're standing in the demonstration of it. And you go, how did that happen? Yeah, it was a miracle. But let's look at it a little bit. Let's look at, for a moment, what is a miracle? Miracle is a shift in consciousness, right? It's a shift in perception. It's a correction of my mind so that I can see spiritual things. Isn't that amazing? And the biggest shift in perception is what? Course in Miracles, guys. From fear to love. That's the shift in perception. How many times when it looks like you don't have enough money, I get a lot of things up here today. It looks like somebody's sick, looks like somebody's dying, looks like it's impossible to pay the bills, looks like the future is not looking so good, it looks like the climate change is getting worse, it looks like there's a threat of nuclear war. I mean, it's all kinds of things you can be afraid of. And if you keep going in that frame of consciousness, what happens is you get more and more fearful. And what are you doing? You're attacking yourself and you're blocking the possibility of your good. You're blocking the possibility of miracles. That's why I love unity, because it's singular. It says there's one power and one presence active in the universe and in my life. There's only one power. All that other stuff is nonsense. It's born out of fear, and it's perpetuated by fear. And I'm not going to buy into that fear anymore. I'm going to choose love. No matter what it looks like, I'm going to choose love. because love is a choice. And I'm going to choose the power that love releases. The miracle is a shift in perception. It's a correction of my mind. It's also a realignment with the truth. It's a redirection of my focus from separation to oneness, from illusion to reality, from sleeping unconsciousness to awareness, awakening. Sleeping is just unconsciousness. I've been reading Eckhart Tolle lately. I've had a little break, one semester break from my ministerial studies with Unity, so I chose to read a book that wasn't on the list of all the class materials. Finally get to pick my own book. And I love this guy. He's amazing because he says that there's no good and bad. People aren't really out to get you. They're just unconscious. When they're acting unconsciously, you get the appearance of attack. You get the appearance of conflict. You get the appearance that people are against you or they don't love you or they all that stuff. And instead of fighting against the unconsciousness, it's really important for you to be realigned with the truth, with your own consciousness. There was a Buddhist teacher that said, well, when you wake up, you don't have any desire to judge those who are still sleeping. And there's another master teacher that says when you wake up, everybody wakes up with you. So there are no people still sleeping. So if you come into the realm or into the environment of a higher consciousness, it's impossible for you to stay asleep. You may run away from it. It may scare you at first, but you will remember. You'll be yelling and screaming and fighting and crucifying the Christ in your own mind, but that experience won't leave your heart. That experience of what I call having a glimpse into superconscious awareness. We used to think that it was divine intervention, that somehow the miracle was decided in a realm, out there. I can imagine, these beings out there going, well, this guy needs a miracle today. We're going to give Wes a miracle. Everybody else, you wait till tomorrow. Nope, you get the miracle today. Now, it's like just crazy to think that spirit would have a separate mind and think the same way that you tend to think in your separate perceptions. No, God does not perceive. God is. Beingness is. Light is. Consciousness is. Spirit just is. And it is everything, and it's everywhere. And the only reason it's not active in me or in my consciousness is because I'm focused on something else. So the miracle is a redirection of my focus. I love it because, yes, the world keeps going in the ways that we have always perceived. And I've been dealing with living with my mom who's getting older and she has some health issues. But they're not really issues for her. It's just part of getting older. And if I make it a big deal, then it's a big deal for me. So right in the middle of all this, months and months of, various going to the hospital and coming home and all those things, a friend of mine's mom, she's almost exactly the same age as me. Her mom was a few years younger than mine. She was at one of our events in Buenos Aires. Beautiful lady, 84 years old. She partied with us till 9:30 at night. We were dancing. She was dancing in the light. She bought Lily's book and had it autographed, and so bright and vibrant. like 2 weeks later, less than 2 weeks later, she fell down, broke her leg. A few days later, she had complications, and she made her transition. Like that. And I was really didn't know how to look at it or how to comfort my friend, because I've been so afraid of death. I've been so afraid of the death of my mom. I've been so afraid of her transitioning. I thought this woman suddenly making her transition like that, she just fell down one day and she was perfectly healthy. And that was it. And so all of my ideas, all of my judgments about what had happened had to shift. I had to shift my consciousness from the sorrow, the suffering, the loss, all of those ideas, to take a new perspective. And the perspective that was given us was amazing. Our friend wrote back and said, "It's weird, but I don't feel sad. I feel joy. I feel this immense joy in my heart. Like my mom's spirit is expanding, and it's getting more beautiful, and it's touching more people. This beautiful spirit now is everywhere." And I said, "It's true." And so we went into meditation and prayer around it. And I saw that, of course, she hadn't died. She had ascended into the light. The last thing I remember of her was being with us in a light session, a session of going to the light. We call it active meditation. And we have the remembrance of our light, where we are always in heaven. So actually, although her body passed away, she was still in heaven, where she has always been, where you always have been and always will be. So I would ask you today, just try to bring a little more heaven into your daily lives. Bring a little more heaven right here, right now. Don't be afraid of what's going to happen tomorrow, and don't be grievous over what happened yesterday. Let it go. Be in heaven right here and right now. You'll be ecstatically joyful. Instead of thinking that you're losing anything, you'll know that you're gaining something. That it's through this miracle. And we're glimpsing in these moments a realm of superconsciousness. Now, in unity, superconsciousness is the Christ mind. It's the divine idea that holds all other ideas. So nothing is being lost or taken away. You're expanding to that divine idea that holds all ideas. You can hold every single one. Now, how do I make this practical? Let's look at how Jesus made it practical. There's a really nice story, and it's a miracle story. And it's in John 5, 1 through 15. It's the story of the guy at the pool of Bethesda. If some of you aren't familiar with this story, it goes like this. There was a pool near Jerusalem, and I imagine it was hot springs, thermal water. Right? So the story goes at a certain season, the water started bubbling, started getting troubled by an angel. And at that moment, all the people who were there who were sick or who were lame or had any kind of physical problem would get into the pool. And the legend had it, the first one in the pool would be the one healed. So there was a guy who couldn't walk. For 38 years, he kept sitting by the pool. And he had nobody to help him into the pool. He said they all rushed in front of him. Kind of like Black Friday, they all rush in before you can get what you need at the store. So at the spa, we'll call this the ancient spa of Jerusalem, Bethesda. They would all rush into the water before him. So when Jesus came along, he said, "My friend, will thou be made whole?" He says, "But dude, come on, everybody gets in the water before me." He says, "No one's here to help me. Nobody will help me get in the water." He says, "I didn't ask you that. I said, do you want to be whole?" Of course, I'm paraphrasing. This is the modern Bible. The Bible, according to Jesus, says, dude, do you want to be made whole? Do you want to be healed? Don't give me your story. Do you want to be healed? He looked up and said, yes. He said, then rise, take up your bed, and walk. And in that moment, the guy stood up for the first time in 38 years. He picked up his pallet, his mat, whatever they slept on over there, and he walked away. Now, the beautiful part about this story is that all he did was make a shift in his mind, that that's what he wanted to do, that he wanted to rise, that he wanted to take up his bed and he wanted to walk, that it didn't depend on getting in the water, that it certainly didn't depend on other people putting him in the water or his grievances about the people getting to the water before him. He had to let all that go. So whatever you think needs to happen for your miracle to occur for you, let it go. Just rise up in your consciousness. Take up yourself from out of your comfort zone and take that step that you know you need to take. Don't wait for the money to come. Don't wait for the people to help you. Don't wait for the government to change. Don't wait for the next election. Don't count on anything of this world. Just get up. Get out of your comfort zone. Take that step. Whatever it is, even if it's a very small step, you'll be given the opportunities. Our friend Bob Bork, he reads to kids. You know, one of his ways of being the miracle is to read children's stories to kids. And this week, they're reading The Night Before Christmas. And when the kids come in, they get a free children's book. When I talked to him, he was out busy collecting books to give to the kids. Because, you know, when you're a young person and somebody gives you something like that, you get, what an amazing miracle that can be in your life. It doesn't matter how small that gift seems. It could be a big, big deal for somebody. It can be a miracle. Your devotion as a mom can be a miracle, is a miracle. You know, when I was a child, my mom always told me, I don't care what you do. You're going to succeed at whatever you do. It doesn't matter. I just want you to be happy. And it finally dawned on me. 50 years later, it finally is getting into my head. That's God's only will for us, is perfect happiness. I just want you to be happy. Every time you got a story going on, they won't bring me into the pool. I'm sorry, they get there ahead of me. I'm going to sit here. No. Are you happy like that? Get out of your comfort zone. Take that next step. I don't know what that next step is for you, but I know it's an activation of your consciousness, your super conscious awareness. I've told this story many times, and I think I've told it here. One of my earliest miracles was finding a boy who was lost in the woods for 11 hours. He was a young boy. I lived with the family. He was less than 2 years old. And 2,000 people were looking for him. And something within me said, you're the one who's going to find him. And there were all kinds of signs along the way. You're the one who's going to find him. And I saw him in my third eye. It opened up, and I saw him in a moment of prayer. And I can say Spirit led me to that boy, and his life was saved. But it was a Spirit. It wasn't just out there. It was within me. It wasn't just within me. It was also out there. This whole dichotomy of illusion, of separation and duality, it melts away. It disappears in that realm of superconsciousness. There is only one power and one presence. And it did turn out that evening that I was led to where that boy was in the woods. And I did save him. But the biggest thing that I think wasn't so much that I saved him. It was that he needed to be saved. And it didn't matter who did it. Someone was going to have to open up to superconsciousness in order to see where he was. Because the helicopters didn't find him. The fire departments and the police departments didn't find him. The soldiers from the Maritime Academy, who I don't know if they're soldiers, sailors? The sailors didn't find him. Nobody found him that night. I knew it had to be me. And as soon as I had the realization, so did everyone around me start to have the same realization. So what I was tapping into there was a type of communication. A type of communication that I like to call super conscious awareness. It's not enough to be aware of the possibility of miracles. You have to be the miracle. And that's what I think our way shore, Jesus was asking this man at the pool, was saying, you can heal yourself. Just get up. You can do it. He also said to another one, physician, heal thyself. When he came and said, heal me, he said, physician, heal thyself. Why did he call him physician? Interesting. Because he's the one who diagnosed himself as being in need of a miracle. He's the one who said, I'm sick, you need to help me. Well, since you've diagnosed yourself as sick, you go and heal yourself. What about that? What about the centurion on the road who came to Jesus and he says, my son, now this is you're praying for somebody else. My son is sick, and I know if you say the word, he will be healed. And you know the interesting thing? Jesus said, you just said the word. In your faith is he healed. In that very moment, his son was healed long distance because of the centurion's faith in Jesus. He gave a good comparison. He says, I'm a commander. And if I tell somebody what to do, I know they're going to do it because I'm their commanding officer. He says, I see you commanding this physical environment. I see you commanding people to get up when they're sick. I see you commanding people to raise up when they appear to be dead. So I know if you say the word, my son will be healed. Now, who was saying all that? It was the guy himself, the soldier, the centurion himself. He said, so it is, by your word. Now, all the master did in that moment was agree with the guy. That's all. All I'm looking to do is agree with you that you are whole, that you are perfect, that you are powerful, that you are prosperous, that you are abundant, that you are amazing. Because you are. And I love to see that. And in fact, it's the only part of you that's going to make you happy. It's when you're really walking in that divine nature. I know you can do it because I see you doing it already. I know we have many, many examples of how we're working miracles in the lives of each other and for ourselves. I just want to increase that. I really do. I want to join with you. I want to agree with you for your highest good. You know, we always pray. I love this because in Unity for years and years, even before I frequented Unity churches, when I was hanging around praying with Unity people, we'd always pray for the highest good of everyone involved. Not just for me, not just for you, but for everyone involved. We kind of forget that when we're praying to God, well, I need this, dear God, I need that, I need this, and you got a list like he's Santa Claus. And what did I forget? The highest good might be much more than what I think I need. And the highest good has to include everyone. I love it. Now, I'm happy. Now, I feel satisfied in my soul because I know that my good is going to include you, that the highest good of everyone is what I'm praying for everyone. And I'm always surprised. See, that's another aspect of the miracle that I love. I'm always surprised. It just blows me away. I'm always shocked and surprised at how beautiful things can be when I let myself be the miracle. I love you guys so much. If you need a miracle, remember, it's time that you be the miracle. You can do it. Stand up. Get out of your comfort zone. Rise up. Take up your bed and walk. You are the miracle. And have a great, incredible, miraculous birth of the Christ in you this Christmas season. Remember, that's who you really are. I love you. Thank you so much.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass. And visit us online at www.unityoncapecod.org.